You have to keep innovating and creating new things that apply to these native crypto assets.
They're asking for fast finality. They're looking to scale the L1. It really feels like the rollups are coming back.
Resistance is neutrality of the L1, and we're actually seeing that the institutional flows value that too.
Today's guest is Stani Kulechov, founder and CEO of Aave, one of the most influential protocols in decentralized finance. Under his leadership, Aave pioneered permissionless lending and borrowing, powering billions in on-chain liquidity and helping define DeFi as we know it. Stani Kulechov, the visionary reshaping how the world borrows, lends, and builds on-chain.
There's a lot to build. You have to get a whole world of credit on-chain. There's a bunch of problems to solve there.
Welcome back to the Roll-Up.
This is your home to learn from the biggest guests, the brightest minds at the tip of innovation.
Our goal is to help spread the collective knowledge of everyone in our community.
We are breaking crypto out of its echo chamber and taking it to the real world.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy it.
We are live. Now, Stani is
in the
approaching
mix.
in the most fashionable pants we've seen
On Rave
all
Day.
week on Rave
Stani,
Day.
welcome. Good to see you again.
So much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks for coming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And congrats on the big week, man.
Yeah, it's been busiest week of the year.
Absolutely electric news coming from all angles. Before we get to that, how's Buenos Aires treating you? How's the food? How's the culture? How's your experience been?
Amazing. I've been coming here almost every year for the past 4 years.
Nice.
And it's every year it's different, but I love it here. The best community, people are very friendly, and you've probably witnessed it as well. And the food is really good.
It is. Favorite type of empanada?
There's so many.
Man, so let's start Aave app. Okay, you know, we've heard distribution is king endlessly throughout crypto and other industries. We had regulatory issues with the app stores broadly. We had a lot of constraints. Those have been lifted this year in a big way. You guys have brought this Aave app now to the market, effectively a high yield savings application, kind of in that Neobank category. Talk to us about kind of the lore there. How did this come about? What inspired you guys to take this next step?
The most amazing thing that we've done in DeFi, and particularly with Aave, is that we've been able to create a very resilient lending pool. So today there is roughly like 50 billion worth of net deposits in Aave, very stablecoin centric. So and it's been able to operate really well without issues over the period of 5 years. People trust Aave, and as the saying goes, just use Aave, right? Just use Aave.
DeFi will win. That's a good one too.
DeFi will win as well. And the way DeFi will win is now trying to make DeFi accessible to everyone. So being able to create as simple and as easy as possible way to move funds from your bank accounts into Aave. That's the way we're going to onboard the rest of the world, and to do it really well, we essentially need to have the Aave app and also native on-ramps as well, and that provides the experience where users feel like it's a more traditional, like a financial application, and all the abstraction really serves the users, abstracting away the wallet component, abstracting away chains, stable coins, and everything that is really like alien for mainstream users, while keeping true to the nature of DeFi and self-custodial access. I think that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. The mobile experience is one that's very familiar with end users. They're familiar with the online banking experience, and now Aave is firmly within the top 50 banks, probably quite higher, maybe in the top 30s at this point. Andy and I were at Chainlink SmartCon a couple of weeks ago. Fidelity, BlackRock, these financial institutions that are sponsoring and coming into the space now. So we've picked up some institutional guests and connections amongst our network. And so what would your message be to the banks that could be watching this now that Aave is one of the top banks in the US and the world?
Yeah, and the way I see it, Aave is, even though there's a comparison on in terms of like the amount of liquidity and whatnot, Aave is still a protocol, a lending network. And my kind of vision is to see Aave actually being more used as an infrastructure for a lot of these institutions and banks. And the way it happens down the line is that as more traditional institutions are connected connecting, and also we will see also embedded DeFi. So embedded DeFi is the path I also see how DeFi can actually scale with these integrations, and down the line, as there's more nodes in the network, it scales the whole liquidity protocol, meaning that there is more depth of liquidity, borrowing becomes more affordable, more business, and then attracts more supply. So it's a flywheel that really benefits everyone who connects into that lending network. And over time, it really should help also a lot of these financial institutions to lower their operational expenses. So I think the two ways that let's say banks or fintechs can reduce their cost is one, using AI, and second, going on chain. And applying these two methods obviously then allows you to operate with a lower operating expense, meaning there's cost savings for the end users. And that's the benefit of DeFi.
Just use Aave, DeFi will win. And now embedded DeFi feels like another term. Let's coin that, right? That is another meme that I think embedded DeFi. And that's the essence that people think of Aave as a bank, but it's also a protocol that banks will use within their own systems. Yeah. Okay. And so what has been the adoption, the institutional adoption of Aave? We've seen Aave Horizon, we've seen RWAs. Generally, how have you seen this progression deeper and deeper into the financial space? You're not seeing competition from banks, even though Aave is rising through the ranks. You're seeing cooperation and adoption. Could you talk about how the institutional adoption process has gone?
DeFi is seen more of like the infrastructure of the future. And it's something that essentially replaces the old rails of banks, the kind of old paperwork processes that existed there, and providing cost savings and more efficiency and better access to capital as well, and more transparency, which should lead to better risk management. On our side, Aave's side, Aave Horizon obviously has been doing incredible job here. We launched Aave Horizon a couple of months ago. It's over $500 million market size at the moment, where users can use tokenized assets, so these RWAs, as a collateral to borrow stablecoins. Why this is interesting is that once you have these traditional assets on chain, you can actually then access liquidity 24/7. And on the lending side, it provides stablecoin lenders a way to lend against a traditional risk profile that exists in the traditional finance. And as the tokenization continues, we will see ETFs, equities, debt, commodities, everything being on chain and then used as a collateral in Aave, and being able to have better collateral management, access to liquidity, and just offering a better financial rails.
At SmartCon 2 weeks ago, we had the opportunity to speak to a lot of those capital allocators, those who would want to use Aave Horizon. And then obviously here at DevConnect in Buenos Aires, quite the juxtaposition of crowds, right? I mean, Robbie and I was wearing like a white long sleeve. Rob was in like these nice sweaters. I saw you in a suit with Sergey. It was like, okay, Stani's in a suit. All right, we're looking good. And so we feel like.
So here's the thing. Like, okay. Here's the thing. Like, I like to dress the way I dress, but the thing is, I look really good in suits. Yeah, so I can't help it. Like if I look good, I'll wear a suit.
Yeah. You see, I couldn't put the blazer on. I couldn't do it.
People don't look good. That's why they can't wear a suit.
All right, I'm not a suit guy. That's what he's saying. And so we felt like there's this table that's being set, right? We've been kind of building for this phase of the market for a while. We've seen it, all of the DeFi infrastructure has been laid out for this phase. Yeah. Aave is clearly capturing a lot of that market, and Chainlink and others. How do you see this strategically from Aave's perspective, right? Like there's this time period right now where Horizon has shipped, and we'll talk about V4 too. I know that that's been in the works for a long time, but as far as a broader message to the industry goes, this time period is very crucial for adoption in that big way. Why have you guys been so successful? What kind of strategically has been your viewpoint on capturing this capital and just generally adoption?
Haliday is unified crypto payments. Give your users more wherever they are. Go to haliday.xyz to never write a smart contract again.
Looking for yield that stands out? InfiniFi gives you just that. Deposit stablecoins and earn far more than the current savings rate. InfiniFi is a battle-tested, reliable DeFi platform that is ready to go. Head to infinifi.xyz. Trade on anything: economics, weather, sports, crypto, and more. All on Kalshi.com 24/7 for the world's biggest prediction market.
Yeah, I think DeFi lending is based on trust, and establishing trust is really important. That happens with good risk management, having resiliency. And the resiliency comes by ensuring that there is enough independent stakeholders in the community that review different parameters, choices, and that creates a system where you establish trust because you're able to have automated liquidations that work, ensure that the protocol doesn't take more risk than it should be. So I think that is the big aspect of that. And Aave has been always a kind of in the forefront of innovation. So coming now with Aave V4, which we launched in testnet yesterday, was a big success for us and something we've been working on a couple of years. Just showcases that you have to keep innovating and creating new things that apply to these native crypto assets or tokenized assets. And there's a lot to build. We have to get a whole world of credit on chain, and there's a bunch of problems to solve there. And that's why I'm super excited of the innovation piece as well.
And there's tons of innovation happening on Ethereum. We've had lots of projects come in, a lot of roll-ups that have talked to us about what they're looking for from Ethereum. They're asking for fast finality. They're looking to scale the L1. And it really feels like the roll-ups are coming back to Ethereum. The whole community is coming back to Ethereum. And I'm curious from your perspective, because Aave is not a roll-up, doesn't have its own chain, but is such a systemically important piece of Ethereum's DeFi mission. What do you look for in Ethereum? What do you think maybe you would prioritize on the Ethereum roadmap?
I definitely think scalability is always important, because at some point we will have a moment on Ethereum where things get congested, and when then the congestion happens, is that's where all the applications and everything will kind of like slow down and suffer. So that's definitely a priority. Rollup as a scaling strategy is great in the path forward, and I think there we have to figure out a bit better liquidity management between different networks, and accessing the deep mainnet liquidity. But also, I would like to see more kind of more innovation on the mainnet as well. The thing about mainnet is that it's securing so much value that any innovation has to be considered very deeply, because it affects a very secure financial system.
Yeah, I feel like the community of Ethereum has rallied around its censorship resistance, its neutrality of the L1, and I think that we're actually seeing that the institutional flows, they value that too.
Yeah.
Or did we focus too much on that, or do they really truly value that?
To be honest, they do. There's a bunch of institutions that will be in multiple networks as they do some sort of strategic token purchases of these RWAs. And you'll see them in all networks because it's easy to mint an ERC20. But the really true kind of like a scaled RWA stuff, institutional stuff will happen on Ethereum. That's where the most of the security is. That's where liquidity network effects are. I used to say, and I still say, that you can't get fired from using Aave, from integrating Aave. And I think the same applies for Ethereum. So you have to be like, a little bit like conflicting, or you have to do some sort of interesting venture if you are choosing not to use Ethereum and something else. There might be a reason to do that that might be strategic, and that's fine. We need to see innovation everywhere. But for the serious stuff and things that has to scale, you have to choose Ethereum and Aave.
I'd like to get into V4 a bit more, but I just got to ask, is things a bit more boring now, compared to 2020? I know it's exciting, but like RWAs, institutions, stable coins, like, you ever just miss the old days?
Yeah. I mean, I do and I don't, because it was a lot of adrenaline.
We know. Yeah.
Sleepless nights, and back in DeFi summer. But also, I think boring is good. Boring
sustainable,
Maybe,
right?
maybe another way to put it is peaceful.
Peaceful,
You feel
yeah.
a bit more peaceful. You
Yeah.
know, these things are doing well.
Yeah.
These things are really, important to the global financial system. So boring, peaceful, like things are a little bit more steady these days, it feels.
Yeah, and I think why this is important is because we need to show that DeFi is resilient and it works, and it can be integrated to the traditional financial applications, and down the line you still have this open ecosystem to explore and experiment. But last thing we need is some sort of a vault to explode and or a curator to explode. Like we need to be in a place where really DeFi feels trusted. If you lose the trust, we push back the whole space down the line, and that's what happened for crypto so many times. We get into a really good place, and then there's some sort of an issue. And I think now the best thing to do is to build that boring DeFi, and ensure that this can be a kind of like the baseline financial infrastructure for everyone.
You talk about resiliency a lot. Before we get into V4, you've said resiliency is the key reason why many users and integrators trust Aave, and why Aave has become one of the most trusted DeFi protocols. The DAO has a pre-vetted multi-stakeholder process that ensures no junk assets are listed, and the protocol doesn't take on any more risk than it should. Talk to us about that pre-vetting process when a curator or a risk manager is looking to come into the Aave DAO. How are you vetting them, and generally, what are you looking for in some of the participants in the DAO for anyone who may be looking at getting involved?
The main important piece about this, obviously, there's multiple stakeholders. They have different kind of roles, from being risk managers to being, let's say, governance delegates, to let's say someone who are doing like the growth work as well, and technical contributors like Aave Labs. And one important thing of all this equation is incentives. So what is the incentive for every single stakeholder to keep the system safe? And when we think about Aave, risk managers are typically paid at a fixed fee to ensure that the protocol is safe and secure. And they have reputation at their stake. So when you think about more of like these curator models, they're more like a hedge funds where their incentives is to actually take more risk. And the reason is that a lot of these strategies are commoditized on chain, meaning you have two choices. You lower your fees, which are already rock bottom, or you take additional risk and try to find capital. And this is why we've seen a few weeks ago some of these issues with the vaults, because you see kind of like a curator is taking more risk because they get pressure of acquiring new capital down the line. So this is important to kind of acknowledge. And the resiliency comes from the fact that everyone is incentivized to protect the system. And it's not a really Aave-centric thing because it works the same way on Ethereum. So obviously you have Ethereum stakers and nodes that basically protect the system by accepting right form of blocks, for example, and not upgrading the code base for if someone writes some sort of bad implementation. So there's that kind of like a guardianship that exists on different levels in our stack.
Yeah, and just kind of last thing on this, is there any really important takeaways or lessons that the DeFi community should have, kind of hard-coded in our minds post this 1010 incident with regards to rehypothecation, recursive lending, just generally like the opaque off-chain kind of lack of transparency when it comes to this, DeFi world? What are some of the key takeaways and thoughts that we need to have going forward?
The aspect of like high yields is always there's something always might be behind that doesn't really necessarily might be above the risk expectations of a lot of the users. I think that's one of the aspect, but also kind of like understanding where and how these systems work and where the yield is coming from. That is really important. And luckily in DeFi, it's really easy to understand when it's on chain. When it's off chain, then you need additional tools like proof of reserves and so forth. So I think we're still in a world where if everyone is excited about some sort of financial opportunity, that doesn't necessarily mean it's fully kind of safe for everyone. And my role as a kind of advocate in the DeFi ecosystem, seeing the space evolve almost a decade, I actually want to rather like protect the safe DeFi and somehow ensure that there is enough tooling and information available for everyone to understand like the differences, while still ensuring that the space is open and innovative. And that's my kind of like a biggest concern is the off-chain stuff. How to verify it, how to understand like what's happening, who to trust, and what are the trust assumptions.
Go anywhere on-chain instantly with Relay.link. Relay is closing in on $10 billion transferred. Go to Relay.link to bridge your assets now.
Not your keys, not your coins. From the team that pioneered cold storage, Trezor has just released its new wallet. Guys, if you are still using hot wallets in 2025, 2026, you are missing the entire point. Secure your coins. Get a Trezor at Trezor.io. This off-chain component is aggressively growing because we're bringing these RWAs on-chain. And so doing that requires the proof of reserves, better Oracle systems, etc. So you guys spent the last couple of years building V4. Apparently V3 wasn't good enough. I don't know. I mean, V3 is great. We've been using Aave for 5 years. But V4 is the next, interpretation of what DeFi needs next. Talk to us about kind of what the improvements from V3 are, why V4 is so important, and just kind of what you're looking to get out of that this next phase.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is that we want to double down on this idea of concentrating capital. And now, for example, in Aave V3, there is multiple markets. So you might have the prime and the core market on Ethereum, and you don't have a way of actually just share the liquidity. So whenever you create a new market on Aave, you have to find a way of seeding the liquidity. And typically how to do that is to create incentives or rent the liquidity, the LPs from somewhere. So that's not really sustainable way. So the liquidity hub and spoke model allows to create markets on the spoke level and give credit lines from the liquidity hub to each spoke based on the kind of like a scale and risk that the liquidity hub wants to subscribes to. And I think that model is very unique because you can segregate risk while at the same time you are not segregating liquidity. And there can be multiple liquidity hubs based on the risk profiles. Let's say the lower risk hub, risk adjusted, and some sort of emerging hub as well.
Well, that was always the pushback to V2, right? Because we saw like Cream Finance come out in 2020, and they were like, all right, we're going to have isolated pools for each asset. Obviously, that didn't work. But that was like the pushback. It was like Aave has all these pooled assets. One bad collateral asset nukes the entire kind of design. And obviously, because of the DAO and the way that you guys have curated your risk management, that has not happened. But V4 really takes that to the next level and almost like tranches out risk as if it was like a junior, a senior tranche kind of.
And typically even V3, like all the asset has supply and borrow caps and limitations. So there is a really good granular risk management there. V4 just provides a lot of new tooling that makes the jobs of risk managers a bit more advanced and easier to do, and additional measures as well. But overall, I think it's a really interesting overall foundation because spokes can be custom, and I think we'll see different kinds of custom implementations where V3 is more like a monolithic code base.
We've had Chaos Labs, we've had Sergey from Chainlink, we've had these guys on the show. These guys are partners of Aave. When you're thinking and designing and scoping out a major upgrade like V4, how much are you looking at your partners and you're talking with them and working with them? Is it mostly internal, or are you bringing this to the external partners and you're all collectively thinking about what the upgrade looks like?
Very collective. There's a lot of people involved. So I think Aave Labs, while running a lot of the code base, there's contributors from different security teams, contributions from other DAO members, and also from the larger Aave ecosystem. It's a very collaborative process, and it's also important because there's different stakeholders and also dependencies. So I think it's really interesting to build in public. It's such a different world. It requires a lot of coordination, but also you get a really good results as well for the code quality.
We're coming up on time. We do have a gift for you. This has been part of our theme of the week, and just generally in the space now. Return to fundamentals is our current slogan. It is our message to the masses. So from your perspective, from Aave's perspective, what does this mean for the entire Ethereum community, for the industry? What does return to fundamentals mean to you, Stani?
Yeah, I think fundamentals, it means that you have to build something that is resilient, but also creates upside for all the stakeholders. So Aave protocol we're going to earn 150 million this year as an example. It's a really good showcase of like how you build fundamentals on chain. And I think we deserve this t-shirt because of what we're achieving with the Aave fundamentals. But also it means that having good foundations and building something that is sticky and resilient.
All right.
Awesome.
The other little game that we're doing here is we're building a DevConnect playlist on Spotify with all of our speakers. I'm going to put you on the spot here and ask you for a song. What song would you like to add to the DevConnect playlist? It can be something that you like recently. It can be a favorite. Yeah. What artists do you like? What's your kind of music taste?
I think one good artist you should think about is Zinobi. So it's XI. Nobi.
Zinobi. Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
And his tracks are really good. And he's going to be doing a back-to-back session today with another RWA DJ, Gallivanter.
Okay.
So it's going to be really
Far
nice,
Away Place.
Yeah.
That's one of his bangers.
Yeah, that's a good one. So
there it is.
Add to the list, and hope to see you all in RWA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Last thing for you, Stani, we've got a lightning round. You've got yes or no questions. You can skip if you don't want to answer it. Lightning round, Stani, live, roll up TV. Just use blank.
Aave.
That one was easy.
Just use Aave.
Just use Aave. Yeah. What is the biggest challenge you've overcome in the past year?
Simplicity.
In 1 to 2 sentences, describe where Aave will be in 2030.
The biggest.
Best RWA up until this point.
Bogota.
Who are the people outside of Aave that you call to chat through ideas?
Guy from Etina.
Fill in the blank. Aave V4 will be
the backbone of all finance.
Best place on earth and worst place on earth to live for crypto natives.
Worst place to live will probably be France.
Shout out to Mark. R.I.P. Mark. I know you've gotten out of there. And best place.
Best place I won't say something exotic, so I'm pretty comfortable in London so far. Let's see how the government will progress from here, but so far so good.
Aave TVL has exceeded 50 billion. Where will Aave TVL be in 2030?
I think we'll be way beyond trillions at that point.
Yeah, way beyond trillions.
Stani Kulechov, live from Roll Up TV in Buenos Aires. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Stani, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
It's been fun to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.